You ever wonder why some tech just takes off, like it's everywhere overnight, and other stuff just disappears? It's a huge question, especially right now with AI tools popping up constantly. So, why do we say yes to some and not for me to others? All right, let's get into it. Okay, let's make this real for a second. Picture this. A brand new AI tool drops, and it promises, no, it guarantees it can cut your project time in half. That's a total game changer, right? So do you use it? It feels like a simple yes or no, but what's really happening is your brain is doing this incredibly fast cost-benefit analysis. And here's the wild part. That little internal debate you're having, it's not random. Not at all. In fact, researchers have figured out that it's so predictable, they actually built a model to explain exactly how we make these choices. And that model is called the Technology Acceptance Model, or TAM for short. Now, this thing was developed way back in 1989, if you can believe it, and it's still one of the most powerful tools we have for understanding why we accept or reject new tech. So what exactly is TAM? Well, to put it simply, it's a theory that says our decision to use any new piece of technology, from the very first home computer to the latest AI, really just boils down to two key questions that our brain asks itself. And here they are, the two pillars of TAM. First up, you've got perceived usefulness. That's the outcome question. Basically, is this thing going to help me do my job better? Will it make me faster, smarter, more efficient? Then you have perceived ease of use, and that's all about the process. How much of a pain is this going to be to learn and actually use? Our whole decision pretty much hangs on the balance between these two things. Okay, but this isn't just some dusty old theory, right? Let's see how this model actually works out in the real world. We're going to look at three completely different scenarios from some recent studies: a stressed out student, an HR pro, and a factory manager to see this thing in action. First up, let's jump into the super high-pressure world of college. Researchers looked at a bunch of university students who were facing these insane deadlines for huge projects. The new tech in question, you guessed it, ChatGPT. And the environment, just stress. Tons of it. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the environment completely changes the calculation. For 156 students in Pakistan, the researchers found that all that academic stress directly cranked up ChatGPT's perceived usefulness. All of a sudden, a tool that can help you just survive the semester and hit those deadlines looks incredibly, incredibly useful. That pushes you to adopt it fast. Okay, let's leave the classroom and head over to the corporate world. Our second case study is in human resources. Here, you have professionals trying to decide whether to bring in new AI systems for things like hiring or employee reviews. The calculation here, it's a little different. You see, for these HR pros, the decision isn't purely personal, it's organizational. Their idea of how useful the AI is gets a huge boost if their boss is on board. And their feeling about its ease of use goes way, way up if they know there's going to be good training and solid tech support. The whole support system at work is shaping their individual choice. And for our last world, we're heading out to the factory floor. We've got managers looking at adopting AI for manufacturing and production. And this is a world that's all about efficiency, competition, and big, complex operations. And this shows so clearly how outside pressures can change the game. For these manufacturing firms, one of the biggest drivers is just staying competitive. If the other guy down the street is using AI to make things cheaper and faster, well, that AI suddenly looks a whole lot more useful for your own survival. Throw in some strong leadership pushing for it, and a team that's ready to go and saying yes becomes a no-brainer. So we've looked at three different worlds, and in every single one, that basic two-part TAM model really holds up. But you probably noticed that other factors kept sneaking in, right? It turns out that this simple two-ingredient recipe is a great start, but we can make it even better. Think of it like this. Perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use are your base. They're the flour and water of your recipe. But depending on the situation, researchers add different spices to make the model even more accurate. For the student, they add a big dose of stress. For the HR professional, they mix in social norms and technical support. And for the factory manager, they add a ton of competitive pressure. And that's exactly what researchers in the field do. They create these hybrid models, combining TAM with other frameworks to get a richer, more complete picture of why we say yes to new tech in any specific situation. So, why are we talking so much about a theory from 1989? Why does it matter today? Because when you understand this framework, you start to see that our choices about tech aren't just random feelings. They're predictable. And that knowledge is pretty powerful. How predictable, you ask? Well, one of the studies we looked at found that when they combined all those factors, the tech, the organization, the environment, they could explain a whopping 71% of why a company decides to adopt AI. I mean, that is an unbelievable amount of predictive power. So here's the bottom line. Your decision to use that new AI tool is never, ever made in a vacuum. It's always this logical trade-off between how much it'll help you and how much effort it'll take, but it's all seen through the lens of your unique world, whether that's a looming deadline, your boss's opinion, or your biggest competitor. So the next time some revolutionary new app or AI tool comes out, just take a second and ask yourself, what's really driving my choice here? Is it just about how powerful the tool is or how simple it is to use? Or is it actually about the world I'm living in right now?